Hello, Senior Stoner fans. It's the real Senior Stoner back at you for your Carta Helix Bubbler Dab of the Day. How are you, everybody? It's Wednesday evening, and I'm still here. What I want to talk about today is how every day people around the world go through learning experiences on how to tolerate adversity. Adversity that they previously found intolerable. Think about it, everybody. This process of learning involves multiple things happening at multiple times. It happens automatically, regardless of your desires, and it forces you by happenstance to practice all the horrible things you can think of sequentially without stopping. So manage this. You've got to be able to deal with adversities so well that you can move on from one to the next and deal with it. Move on from one to the next and deal with it. Move on from one to the next and deal with it for the rest of your life. Well, most of these patients, most of these people are patients. Most of these people have some type of chronic pain or illness, and their adversities are severe and involve chronic pain with numerous common problems associated with pain. Think about it. Think about the things that become associated with dealing with chronic pain or chronic issues. How about number one, reliance on opioids? Think about it. How about the disability that follows? How about insomnia? How about depression? How about anxiety? How about horrible things happening to your personal relationships? How about loneliness? How about lack of any activities in your daily life? Can I go on? I can go on and on and on. And it ain't me. This is global. It ain't COVID. This is life. But, with a willingness to learn and having openness to feedback and having perseverance, these people, including myself, proceed. And you learn. It's amazing. You learn how to cope with pain so intolerable that they were once so intolerable that you couldn't move forward. But for some reason, some magical reason, they become tolerable. Not manageable necessarily, but tolerable. You get one, you handle it, you move on to the next, you handle it, you move on to the next, and so on. So as a result, what can happen with my version of life, the Ferris wheel theory, is you get to the top of the Ferris wheel and you come across, what do you have? Hope and opportunity, two things. What does it give us? It gives us the ability to potentially move on with life and minimize the associated problems you have with these chronic pain issues or chronic illnesses. Well, doesn't mean you're going to stop opioids and have no pain management. Doesn't mean you're going to go back to work. Doesn't mean you're not going to be depressed or anxious because of your pain. That doesn't mean that. What it means is that for some reason, the human spirit is able to manage and deal with these things. The lesson is that with practice, unfortunately, this is the truth, I'm here to prove it, with practice. In other words, day after day after day after day of horrible pain, you live through it. Guess what you say to yourself? I guess I can manage horrible pain. Day after day after day after day of other things, you say, I can get through other things. So, here's the rub. Here's the great thing. It's the power of coping. It's the power of coping. It's what makes intolerable things tolerable. It's what makes the unimaginable, unmanageable things manageable. It's what allows people to go from being totally stuck in life to being able to slowly move. Now, I'm not saying we're all going to move back to where we were. I'm not saying we're not going to have consequences for everything that's happening, because there are. But the process of going from intolerable to tolerable is kind of like going to boot camp in the military. Think about it. It's crazy. You come off the street, you could be selling hot dogs at Nathan's, and the next day you're in boot camp with a crew cut, peeing in front of 40 other guys. You know what I'm saying? Or ladies. My point is, there's no privacy, da-da-da, and there you go. Well, in a sense, that's an adversity, and you learn how to cope. So, is there a boot camp for chronic pain? Is there a way for us to come in and have training sessions on how to deal with chronic illness? Guess what? We do it ourselves. We are the living examples of boot camp for chronic pain and chronic illnesses. You go through them. That's called going through them. I'll say it again. You go through them. It means you went through them. Think about it. It's incredible. Boot camp for chronic illness and chronic pain is what lets us live and move forward. That's my term for it, boot camp. So, I hope you all don't have to go to the same boot camp I've been going to. But if you have to, the good news is, once you go through boot camp, you are trained, you've practiced, you've been through it. And guess what's going to happen the next time you go through it? Might not be so horrible. I can't stop it from happening to us. But what I can do is tell you that when you get on top of that Ferris wheel, you have hope and opportunity. I can tell you that when you get into the boot camp of pain and the boot camp of horrible illness, you know what you get from it? Experience. You've lived through it. Every time Mrs. Stoner comes home at the end of the day, I tell her, honey, I made it through another day. And here's to it, everybody. Senior Stoner's still here, made it through another day of pain boot camp. Cheers, everybody. In case you can't guess, I really needed that hit. One more. And let's learn something from our pain. Let's learn something from our chronic illnesses so that we can come out the other end. Cheers, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Thank you for comments. I respond to everyone. The Real Senior Stoner. Cheers. Go to boot camp.